Hi everybody, it's Jerry Meyer. Welcome back to HuntDeerInOhio.com. In today's video, I'm going to show you how to make a deer exclosure. I'm going to also show you how to place them, and I'm going to tell you what they're for and what you can learn from them. Come walk with me. My materials for this project include a 50-foot roll, although I'm not going to use all of it, of this galvanized welded wire. I use one of these 5-foot steel fence light duty U-posts. I use two of these 5-foot garden stakes. I almost said snakes. I use two of these 5-foot garden stakes. What I like about these, they're flexible and I can weave them right down through this wire. So to make this thing, I recommend you unroll the wire on the ground because it's very springy. That coil, it wants to coil right back up on itself. So bear with me here. We may wrestle with this thing a little bit. You're going to need some kind of heavy weight or someone else to help you hold one end of this down because it will roll right back up. Once you get it rolled out, I like to somewhere between 7 and 8 feet. If I go with that, I should have enough wire to make 6 of these if that's what I want to do. And cost-wise, I bought enough posts to make 3 of these, and the total cost today was a little over $80. So for $100, you could probably make 6 of these out of one roll of wire. So again, I measure off somewhere, but I try to measure off 7.5 feet, but you'd be good with anywhere from 7 to 8 feet. So that's 7 feet 6 inches. Now when I cut this, and I'll show you, I'm going to cut it, but I like to alternate how I cut it, and that gives me a wire tab that I can use to hook around the wire on the ends. And again, I don't have to have any extra type of fasteners to do that. I'm going to cut this, and then I'll pull it up and show you. So when I cut it, I cut every other end just like this pattern. I leave this section that lets me hook over the other end, and the other end's got the same pattern on it. So we're going to just wire this together. So I bend that one up and over, this one down and over. That's already locked together very nicely. So now I'm just going to take this one and bring it around like that. Take the other one, bring it from the other direction like that. I'm going to go ahead and weave it down the rest of the way. And there, that one's together. Diameter, that is just a little over 2 feet. So if you get these anywhere between 2 and 3 feet in diameter, you're good. Your objective is to keep the deer from being able to reach down and eat whatever's in here. So then you can take this garden stake and start on the outside or start on the inside. I'm going to start on the outside and go clear down through until I get just about to the bottom. And I'm going to pull it back out. The steel post I would put it on the inside, drive it in the ground, and use a couple of pieces of small wire just to wire it to your mesh circle. Follow me. I'm going to go show you a food plot where we're going to put this thing up. It's about a week after I mowed this little food plot and put this deer exclosure in. I mowed it and put this thing in on July 23rd. Today is July 28th. Here's the clover. And it really responds nicely to mowing. So what do I mean by it responds nicely to mowing? Many clovers, and this is almost all red clover, they evolved to survive heavy grazing by wild animals. And so mowing it stimulates it to create new growth, just like grazing would. And I recommend you mow it at least twice a year. And these are the results you can expect. Keep checking this thing. Hey, I made another trip back over to the food plot. I want to show you the difference between inside the exclosure and outside the exclosure. It is now August 8th, Saturday, August 8th, and I just want you to look at this. Look at the deer browse right here. I think you can see all that. I'm right outside this exclosure, and I'm going to turn the camera. Let's look at the difference of the height of the clover inside versus outside. I'm going to put my hand through there. You can see how tall it is. I'll back off a little bit. You can see how tall it is inside versus how tall it is outside, where all these browses are at. I want to show you two more of these. One is in Coshocton County. The other one is right across the road on my property. And this area was hit fairly hard by EHD last year. But the deer have still been hammering this clover field. So we'll watch it over the next couple of months. Now, the other two exclosures I put in were in forested habitat. This late in the year, you may not see a lot of change between what's going on outside the exclosure and what's going on inside the exclosure. It'll be probably next year before we see much change in those two. And I would expect to see more change in Coshocton County at my friend's property than I do here, because he's got a lot more deer than I do here. I'm going to walk in the woods right below my house to this other exclosure. So a lot of this, as we get down in here, is going to be just about nothing but greenbrier. And deer absolutely love greenbrier. And this is greenbrier right here. That's greenbrier. And I've got a lot of it in here. As I get further down into the woods, just about all this ground vegetation is greenbrier. And why is that unusual? again, my deer population was hurt by EHD last year, the fall 2025, and my deer numbers are down. But they're still here. There's where deer browse that off. There's where deer browse that off. But I want to show you the exclosure. And I actually strategically put it over top of some greenbrier that had been browsed. There's some more deer browse on greenbrier right there. This is all greenbrier. And when you have a lot of deer, you won't have a lot of greenbrier like this. This is the other exclosure. And I intentionally put some greenbrier. There's nothing wrong with it. It's just drooping from where I put it in there. But you can see here where the deer have been browsing this greenbrier before I covered it up. So it may take a full year. It may take 2 years, but I completely expect this thing to grow very well inside this exclosure, and I expect everything outside of it to get browsed back. We'll see. Only time will tell. As I move around here, I'm going to show you deer browse on a little raspberry right there. I'm going to swing around and show you one on a multiflora rose. The deer are definitely browsing here, but what I really want you to look at is almost the complete lack of vegetation on the forest floor there. And the next little clip is a still of this scene, and I'm going to show you what I think is the beginning of a browse line. And then we're going to switch back to Athens County. If you look down through this forest at the forest floor, there's just not a lot of vegetation on the ground. And then the deer will walk through here and eat anything they can reach upward also. Compared to this scene in Athens County, both sites are looking to the southwest to west. And you can see here, there's just no browse line. There's lots of vegetation on the forest floor, and it's obvious there's a big difference in deer numbers. I recommend you place any exclosures you put up in a forested environment, in a woods. You're going to get a better picture of what the deer are doing in that kind of habitat than, for instance, like that food plot across the road. The deer are going to really hammer that food plot, and it's not going to give you a true picture of what's going on the rest of the property. So the more of those exclosures you can put up will give you a better idea of what the deer are eating and how heavily they're browsing on your property. It's just another tool to help you in the management of your property. Now, one of the things I want to explain and where not to put it is on a woodland trail, and let me show you why. There's a invasive plant called Japanese stiltgrass that deer don't eat. And so if you put them on a trail in Japanese stiltgrass, you're not going to be able to get any information from your exclosures. I'm going to show you what Japanese stiltgrass looks like. This is Japanese stiltgrass. You're going down this trail. Both ways on this trail, all this ground cover on this trail is Japanese stiltgrass. And if you get a closer look at it, you can see it right here. It's an invasive, and it's highly invasive, and deer just don't eat it. So do like I tell my grandson. Use your eyes to look, use your ears to listen, and when that stuff gets in your head, see if you can learn something from it. This is Jerry Meyer, huntdeerinohio.com. I'll see you the next time.